Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Chainsaw Reacts podcast, episode number 47. Guys, it's been a very long time since I did my last podcast. I think it's been about 2 months or so since my last podcast. But anyways, we have a ton of things to talk about, guys. Let's not waste any more time. The two topics I'm covering today are number one, of course, everybody, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. I'm going to get into my thoughts about the Ultimate Cut, my thoughts about the theatrical cut of the film versus the Ultimate Cut, and going more in depth of my thoughts about the Ultimate Cut and overall the experience I had watching the 3-hour version of Batman v Superman. So there you go, and I will be getting the spoilers in that topic, so there you go. And the second topic, we're covering a ton of DC TV casting news. We're going to be including people that were casted in Supergirl Season 2, Arrow Season 5, The Flash Season 3, and Legends of Tomorrow Season 2. So there's a lot of stuff we're going to cover there. I'm probably not going to cover everybody who's been casted on those 4 shows that have been casted recently, but I'll be covering a lot of them, so there you go. So anyways, without further ado, let's get to it now. The first topic, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition, Ultimate Cut, 3-hour version, whatever you want to call it. We're talking about it right now. So let me start off this by saying this. Let me start off this topic by saying this. I think the Ultimate Cut of Batman v Superman is far superior than the theatrical cut of the film. Now, if you love the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman, if you love the one everybody saw in theaters, you're going to love this version even more. You're going to love the Ultimate Cut so much more. If you had a lot of issues with BVS, which a lot of people had, I think that a lot of the issues you had with the Batman v Superman theatrical cut is fixed in the Ultimate Cut, okay? But if you are a person that just thinks that it doesn't matter what they do, this film will fail, the theatrical cut sucked, I don't care if they added 30 extra minutes, then don't even bother because you're still going to hate the film because that's the way your mindset is working. But if you are open to see 30 extra minutes put into this film and you're open to changing your mind and maybe viewing the film again with the 30 extra minutes with the way the film was intended to be, then you should give this a shot. If you had issues with the BVS theatrical cut, if you loved the theatrical cut, whatever your thoughts were for Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice theatrical cut, whatever your thoughts were, I say this. Give the Ultimate Cut a shot. It doesn't matter if you loved the theatrical cut or hated it, or if you're in the middle, you kind of liked it, but some things you didn't like. Give the Ultimate Cut a try. And let me give you a couple reasons why before we continue on. Number one, this is the 3-hour version that Zack Snyder made. This is what Batman v Superman was supposed to be. This is what this film was supposed to be. Warner Brothers took out 30 minutes of the film and moved scenes around in the film, okay? So if you had a major issue with Batman v Superman theatrical cut because of the fact that scenes were randomly happening in the film that made no sense and they were placed randomly and you were just like, what the hell is going on? That is fixed in the Ultimate Cut because that is what happens when Warner Brothers goes in and pulls out 30 minutes and realizes, okay, the way the film is structured now with 30 minutes pulled away, whether it's brand new scenes that you never see at all or just certain lines pulled away or just cut out, they had to restructure and move stuff around and it really messed it up. I still enjoy the theatrical cut for what it is, but there are a lot of problems with the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman. You'll definitely even see more of the issues in the theatrical cut once you see the Ultimate Edition. You'll see a ton of more things wrong with the theatrical cut once you see the true vision of Zack Snyder and what he wanted this film to be. Okay, there was all these reports that Warner Brothers and DC gave a standing ovation to Batman v Superman. It's the 3-hour cut that they gave the standing ovation to. Not the theatrical cut, no. That was them getting nervous and said, nope, we got to cut this out because we can't release a 3-hour version of this film. But anyways, a couple more reasons why I think you should watch the Ultimate Cut if you're kind of iffy a little bit. The second thing, the biggest thing everyone complained about off the top is at the very beginning of the film, the Africa sequence. It is hugely cut. You don't get to see anything that happens in Africa except Superman lands and saves Lois Lane and then it cuts away, okay? The Africa sequence is fully there in the Ultimate Cut and you actually get to see some more build-up before Superman actually shows up in Africa to save Lois Lane. There's more build-up, there's more dialogue for Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, who is there, which ultimately he does get shot. That is Jimmy Olsen. He actually says his name and all that in the Ultimate Cut. And then you get to see why everyone says Superman caused all this damage. Superman caused all this destruction. You get to see what unfolds in the Africa sequence at the very beginning of the film, and it really changes your whole perception of the film, because now you actually get to see on screen what all these issues were that people have with Superman. You actually get to see it on screen and understand why people were thinking this way, even though you know, as a viewer of the movie, Superman didn't do that, but it's perceived that he did. It really fleshes out even more. Another good reason is because there's more dialogue between Bruce Wayne and Alfred in this Ultimate Cut. Now, if you watch a theatrical cut and then you haven't seen the film in months and you watch the Ultimate Edition, you'll be like, well, is that new or is that new? I'm not really sure what exactly is new. There is certain dialogue that is stripped out between Bruce and Alfred that is put back in there for good measure, and you get to see more of that relationship between those two characters. Another thing that's also cut out that you really should be excited for, you get to see more Superman, more Clark Kent. You actually get to see him be a reporter, him go to Gotham City. Not going to get into extreme details because we're not in the spoiler part of this topic yet, but he goes and he gets to investigate the Batman. He gets to go and figure out what's going on here. And seeing these little scenes that were completely cut out, like where you get to see no footage from, these new additional scenes, especially with Jenna Malone, which comes into play, which we all thought she was playing one character. Turns out that's not the truth at all. The rumors were false. But these additional scenes that were added in, and the fact that scenes got put back to where they were supposed to be in the Ultimate Cut and not rearranged, and it's all confusing for most people to watch, that these additional lines, additional scenes that are added in to like peppered throughout the film. It's not like we're one huge scene, 7 8 minute scene was cut out. No, it's like literally 30-second, minute-long scenes that were just cut. And when they're put back in the Ultimate Edition, once you see these scenes building up to certain confrontations, certain moments in the film that really drives the story forward, they make more sense and they make you care more because you see more interactions and more dialogue between certain characters in the film that really builds up to ultimately the climax of the film. So it really does change some of the tone and some of the outlook that we have for the film once we see more of these brand new scenes that we got no sense of. We never saw it all in the theatrical cut because Warner Brothers cut away. Now, saying that to say this, I reviewed the theatrical cut the day after I saw it in theaters, and I gave the theatrical cut at the time of the viewing a 9 out of 10. I was one of those rare people that loved the film. I really did. I acknowledge there's a lot of issues. I acknowledge there was a lot of editing issues. But after seeing the Ultimate Cut and looking back on what I thought about the theatrical cut to me, I said it on Twitter. I said it went down to about an 8 out of 10. Thinking about it more, because I wanted to wait a little bit before I really started talking about the Ultimate Cut, that I think the theatrical cut is now down to about a 7.5 out of 10. Because I'm being serious. If you haven't seen the Ultimate Edition for BVS, then you are really missing out. Because seeing the Ultimate Cut makes you think in your head, what the hell happened in that editing room when they were editing this film down from 3 hours to 2 hours 30 minutes? What the hell happened? And so the theatrical cut is a 7.5 out of 10. The Ultimate Cut to me is a 9.5 out of 10. This is the true version of the film. And before I get to my spoilers, I want to say this one last thing, and then I'll get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen BVS, I mean, you can stay for the spoilers. I mean, trust me, all the things I'm going to be talking about is probably going to make you want to go see the film and actually experience it yourself. I don't think me going into spoilers about what's added in is going to change your overall experience for viewing the Ultimate Cut for the first time. But anyways, before I continue on to jumping into spoilers, I do want to say this one last thing. In my personal opinion, the theatrical cut of BVS, the one we all saw in March, that version, the theatrical cut, 2.5 hours, to me, it does not exist anymore. Because the 3-hour Ultimate Cut, in my personal opinion, is the definitive version of the film. That, to me, is Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, the 3-hour edition. Not the theatrical cut. That is the butchered version. That is the Warner Brothers tampering version. To me, Zack Snyder's true vision of Batman v Superman is the Ultimate Edition 3-hour version. That's just my personal opinion. That's how I see it. And I do also want to add, I think that everyone who bashed on Zack Snyder for putting out a really shitty movie should really put more blame on Warner Brothers and the editing people that was behind butchering this film. Trust me, if you haven't seen the Ultimate Cut, you might agree with that statement that maybe we should apologize to Zack Snyder and blame more of Warner Brothers because they really butchered this film. But it really just depends on how you feel about the theatrical cut versus the ultimate cut. But anyways, we're going to get into spoilers. You've been warned. Spoilers are coming. So if you have seen Ultimate Edition, then you're fine. If you haven't, you can still stay if you want, but I'm going to get into spoilers about really specific things that happen. So, okay, you've been warned. So, starting off with the biggest thing that really stood out is the Africa sequence because we all were like, well, what the hell happened in Africa that really just made it to where everyone like just doesn't trust Superman anymore? Well, it shows that KG Beast burns bodies and it makes it to look like that it's Superman's eye laser beams, whatever they're called, the eye thing, and he burns the bodies and makes it look like Superman just like started mowing down people with his his heat vision or whatever, and it was really gruesome. And what really pushed this home is that there was a woman, and I believe in the theatrical cut, once Superman saves Lois Lane, it cuts to the courtroom where, or not courtroom, but kind of a Senate hearing where a woman who was from Africa was saying her parents died and that Superman came in and it was fire and death and all this kind of stuff. In the ultimate cut, you learn that woman who was at the Senate hearing, I don't think I don't think she was ever there when it occurred because it turns out she was paid by Lex Luthor to be an actress and say her parents died. And it turns out the truth is it was another thing that Lex Luthor planned in order for everyone to hate Superman, everyone to blame Superman for the death and the destruction that happened there at Africa on that day. And it's another thing that Lex Luthor planned out. And what really this does is help flesh out more of Lex Luthor's plans because it's another thing that he pushes and does in this film. It is definitely a turner because, I mean, she's being interviewed on the news and saying, Superman, what lives do you think that are worth saving or worth not or worth allowing to live and all this kind of stuff. Just all these questions about why Superman, why? And it turns out it was all bullshit because Lex Luthor was feeding her this information, just telling her to say this stuff out in the open and made everybody question, do we need a Superman? Do we need this person? Do we need this savior? Do we need him? And it really made me really look at this film in a different way. Another cool thing that they did that really made me stand out and go, okay, now the confrontation the first time between Superman and Batman, where Batman's trying to take out those guys who are basically carrying the kryptonite, and Superman stops him, and they had that little conversation. Tell me, do you bleed? You will. That confrontation in the theatrical cut, it was a cool moment, but we saw it in a bunch of trailers and TV spots and all that kind of stuff. But what the ultimate cut does is give you two small scenes to make it even more amped up and a more of a reason why Superman stops Batman in his tracks that night. And the two scenes are, number one, the man at the beginning of the film that Batman branded, that guy who was tied up to that heater or whatever, who was branded, okay, he is sent to Metropolis, and he is basically targeted to die by Lex Luthor, another plan by Lex Luthor, and then he dies, and you see it happening in the prison yard. He gets stabbed a bunch of times, and then you've seen the theatrical cut, but it makes more of an impact when Clark Kent at the Daily Planet gets these photos, and he looks at the photos, and it's that guy Brandon, and he's dead, and you see him die, and you know why he died, because of Lex Luthor. And it really builds more tension. Then there's another scene where Clark Kent goes to Gotham, and he's investigating Batman. He goes to the apartment of the woman that was at the Senate hearing that's been saying all this stuff, and she's not there, and then he has a mini conversation between a gentleman and a woman in the same apartment area, and they're talking about Batman. Don't be out at night. He's out there. And then when he talks to the man who is doing a little scratch off ticket, he scratches off to having the bat symbol, and he says, there's a new meaning in him, and he is hunting. Referencing the fact that Batman is on the hunt, and he is meaner than ever, and he is killing people. And these two mini scenes build up why Superman goes out of his way to stop Batman in his tracks during that whole segment. And it really just adds more tension to why he's stopping Batman, why he's acting like this, because you get to see more of why he's being feeded this information that Batman is, even though he is trying to be a hero, in quotes, in Superman's eyes, he's doing it in a wrong way. So it makes more sense. So it's getting that kind of that thing where Superman has a certain way of being a hero and Batman has a different way of being a hero. Philosophical ways are just the divided. And we were all hoping that was the reason why Batman v Superman was happening and why they were fighting, but that's not the case. It was all Lex Luthor planning out. But at least we get to see some of that differences in why they ultimately meet for the first time, because Superman's like, you got to stop this crap. So I like that. Some other added things. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what is more added. There is more added to the funeral sequence. Not so much of, where Bruce Wayne and Princess Diana at the end of the film are talking, but more the fact that there's more build up to, this very sad moment where they're at and they're in Smallville, and you get to see more of some of these characters from the first film, Man of Steel, are in the house, and they're all conversating and all this kind of stuff. And then you get to see I believe a preacher or whatever reading some scripture and kind of saying some things about over Clark Kent's gravesite with a bunch of people there from the Daily Planet or his childhood, and it really expands more on the death of Superman. And since this is the R-rated version of the film, they did have some more blood splatter, and especially with the Batman sequence in the warehouse where he's fighting all those dudes, more bones are being broke. There's more blood in that scene. And then when the actual death happens with Doomsday killing Superman, you actually get to see the bone intrusion go through him. You get to see more of it. It looks more, disgusting, but it's definitely a better version of the film. And I think the Ultimate Cut deserves to be recognized by everybody. And it really sucks that the theatrical cut was butchered and destroyed by not only the Warner Brothers executives or whoever decided to cut out what they cut out of Batman v Superman, but also the critics destroyed this film. The majority of them did. And a lot of audience members don't like the film at all. And it sucks because this Ultimate Cut, yes, it will be viewed by people that are curious for the Ultimate Edition. But the sad thing is there are quite a bit of people, and there's probably some critics who will never view the Ultimate Cut because their mind's already made up. Zack Snyder failed. He failed at making a Batman v Superman movie. Does the Ultimate Cut change Jesse Eisenberg's performance as Lex Luthor? No. Does the film change the reason why Batman fights Superman? No. Does the film change the fight at the end where they fight Doomsday? No. What this film changes is your thoughts and basically the overall plot lines that's going on, the main plot and a couple of the side plot lines going on. And it really helps enhance your experience, and you understand more of what the hell is happening. And the one thing it really does add is more tension between Batman and Superman. What it adds is more of Lex Luthor's plans. Now, just because you understand more of Lex Luthor's plans doesn't change his performance. Did I hate his performance? No. Do I think it's really weird? Yeah. But overall, what I experienced is a way better film. What I experienced is the true vision, the true version of Batman v Superman. And I think, and I'll say this once more and then I'll continue on with the second topic with a bunch of casting news for DC TV shows, is that this is a phenomenal film. If you had issues with BVS theatrical cut, if you loved the theatrical cut, if you hated the theatrical cut, and a lot of your concerns are plotline, some of the plot making no sense, some of people's intentions and their plans making no sense, Scenes randomly being placed in the film that make no sense, scenes randomly just placed throughout the film that really just makes you more confused than then go, oh, this is great. It's more like, what the hell's happening right now? If a lot of your issues are with the editing, scenes being rearranged, some of the plots, just plot lines making absolutely no sense because everything's so just jumbled and crazy, the Ultimate Cut will probably fix most of your issues with that aspect. Okay? I'm hoping that more people check this out. I'm hoping that people listening to this podcast who maybe were not going to see the Ultimate Cut will decide to try it out. I'm not saying go buy it for $20. Rent it if you can. Rent it. Watch it. Take 3 hours out of your day. Sit back, relax, and try to watch the film for the first time. Because it's hard, but at the same time, I tried and I love this film way more than theatrical cut. It is the true vision, and I'm hoping more people check it out because I've been seeing on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, that so many people are checking out the Ultimate Cut, and I've been seeing daily most people responding to the Ultimate Cut saying this is a better film. This is the film they should have put out in theaters. What happened, Warner Brothers? Why'd you cut out 30 minutes? I love the theatrical cut, but I love this film even more, and a lot of positive feedback for the Ultimate Cut of BVS. So in conclusion, Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition is the true version of this film. I love this film. I cannot wait to see more. I cannot wait for Justice League. I can't wait to see more of what happens. And I'm hoping that with all of this fiasco and so much positive feedback for the Ultimate Cut, the true version of the film, from fans, from people who didn't like the theatrical cut that actually like it now, and people that love the theatrical cut but actually love this more, that maybe Warner Brothers will be kind of more hesitant to not cut as much out of their future DC films in this universe. So, there you have it, guys. That's a lot of stuff to cover there. My throat is killing me. I gotta take a sip of my drink because my throat is about to die, and I don't want to die on this podcast. I don't think you guys want that either. I mean, if you do, then more power to you. Okay, we got a ton of things to cover for DC TV, but I won't be covering every casting, but I will be covering the majority of the ones that I do want to talk about. And the first one, we're going to get into Supergirl because we got 2 people to cover right now that have been officially cast. So the first one, Tyler Hoechlin. Anyways, Superman. We officially have Superman. Now, this casting's old, yes, I understand, but I do want to talk about it. So, now we have Tyler. I won't try to pronounce his last name. I probably butchered his last name, but okay. So we have Superman, and I want to give you my thoughts. But before I get to my thoughts about the casting, I do want to say this. What I like about it is that they casted somebody that looks nothing like the Henry Cavill, the movie universe Superman. Because when they announced Superman was coming to Supergirl, but they didn't announce who was casted. I think they announced it like a week and a half or 2 weeks before the actual announcement of Superman, like who was playing him. They announced Superman is coming to Supergirl. Everyone was saying Tom Welling, bring him back. They were announcing somebody named Matt Bomer or something like that. He looks very familiar to Henry Cavill. And when I noticed that the majority of people that were giving their fan casting for Superman before they casted who was playing it, that the majority of people fan casting who they wanted to pick was people that looked a lot like Henry Cavill. And I guess that's a good thing because everyone's like, well, Henry Cavill, I mean, that's Superman in the movie, so let's get someone who looks kind of like him for the TV. So I like the fact that they were like, no, we're going to cast somebody who looks different. We're going to cast somebody who just has a different look for Superman, a version of Superman, if you will. And the guy grows a great beard, so maybe he'll be able to have a beard on Supergirl. Probably not, but it'd be cool to see a bearded Superman for sure. At least for an episode or something. I don't know. But anyway, how do I feel about his casting? Well, I haven't really seen him act. I haven't seen the show Teen Wolf. He's been in a couple of films. I haven't personally seen them. But from what I've heard from a lot of people that know of him from Teen Wolf and know of him from the films he's been in, that he is a great actor and that he does a good job. And they're really excited. So for me, hearing that, I'm hopeful that I think he will do a good job. I just personally like the fact more that he just looks different than the majority of people that were fan casting. They went with somebody. They could have easily just said, Tom Welling is going to come back as Superman. Would have been kind of weird because they kind of had Supergirl on Smallville. But anyways, The whole point is that they went for somebody different, and I cannot wait for Superman on Supergirl. They said that he is confirmed for the first 2 episodes of Supergirl Season 2, but I guarantee if he is received well by fans, which I have a feeling he will be, it's Superman, then they will bring him back for more episodes. Will he be in the crossover, the 4-night crossover with Arrow, Flash, Legends, and Supergirl? Doubt it, but it'd be amazing if he did. But we are getting Superman, and they casted somebody who is an interesting choice, and I cannot wait to see how that goes down. Next up, Linda Carter as the President of the United States for Supergirl Season 2. And what was really funny, I was reading this online when they announced Linda Carter was going to be playing the President of the United States in Season 2 of Supergirl, that some people thought that they casted Linda Carter to play Wonder Woman in Supergirl. And everyone's like, oh my god, they casted the old Wonder Woman to be in the new Supergirl show as Wonder Woman. No. They were just citing the fact that they cast the original Wonder Woman from the TV show, and they're bringing her to Supergirl as the President of the United States. Now, someone said during Season 1 finale of Supergirl, they mentioned that the President of the United States is a girl, a woman. I don't remember that line exactly, but it's awesome the fact that they found that they didn't go for someone who was in an original Superman show or another Superman show, but they went with somebody who was another DC property, somebody who's well loved by so many people, Linda Carter, to play the president. It's just really awesome that they're just going out of their way. They could have easily just casted somebody else, but they went out of their way to cast a legendary actress that portrayed the most badass and the most awesome female superhero of all time, and they're bringing her into Supergirl Season 2, and I bet they're gonna make some jokes about some red, white, blue, and all that kind of stuff, and just making jokes, and they'll probably make some references to Wonder Woman, but I don't know. They should, Supergirl might say, "Man, you're a wonderful woman," or something like that. Like they're gonna they're gonna make some jokes for sure. But I like this casting; it's pretty cool, and I can't wait to see how she does on the show. But that's actually pretty cool because the more I think about it, actually, the President of the United States is going to be having conversations with Supergirl. They're actually going to have some talk, so it's going to be really cool to see Supergirl interacting with the most powerful woman of the world in this case. So I'm pretty excited for that. Next we're going to talk about is Arrow. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about here with a bunch of characters here. We got Chad L. Coleman, the alumni from The Walking Dead. I was trying to find the word. The alumni from The Walking Dead who played Tyrese. He will portray Tobias Church, an imposing gangster looking to unite the various criminal enterprises in Star City under his own singular command. And I think this is a great casting choice. I really enjoyed him on The Walking Dead. It was sad to see him go from The Walking Dead, but he did a phenomenal job on that show, and I cannot wait to see him portray this king, gangster, because he's going to try to unify all of these criminal enterprises under him. He's going to be the main guy. So I really like the fact that they cast him in this role. I mean, he played a really good hero on The Walking Dead, and to see him play a villain and playing a villain that's apparently going to be pretty prominent because he's going to be dealing with Mayor Oliver Queen and the Green Arrow at the same time. So I'm definitely intrigued for this casting news. Next up, we got Rick Gonzalez will portray Jack Wheeler, aka Wild Dog. Based on the DC Comics character of the same name, Wild Dog is a new vigilante in Star City whose reckless and cocksure actions prompt the Green Arrow to guide him. Now, I'm just reading off on the Wikipedia here, so if you're like, well, why is he saying these random things talking about the characters? It's because it's on Wikipedia, and it helps kind of explain more about the character in case you're not 100% sure, because sometimes I'm not as well. But I'm really liking this. The fact that they went for a very, very, D-level character, Wild Dog. I heard this line someone said, and it has stuck in my head every single time Wild Dog is brought up in Arrow discussions or whatever on Facebook or whatever. The thing was, wow, the Arrow freaking writers and producers scraped the bottom of the DC ocean for Wild Dog. Like, he's at the very bottom of the ocean, of the DC ocean, and they picked up Wild Dog. But I like the fact they're going with this. They're going for a character that not a lot of people know about. I really have no idea who the character is or what the character's all about, except for the description they gave with the casting announcement. But I like the fact that they're bringing in new characters, and there's a bunch of new characters they're bringing in. I mean, it's insane how many new characters they're bringing into Arrow Season 5. So I like the fact they're bringing in this vigilante that Green Arrow is going to kind of have to train, kind of like how he trained Roy Harper and trained Thea in some instances, and all that, and trained Diggle at least going out in the field and being a vigilante. But I'm definitely intrigued by this. Next up, we're going to have is um, Josh. Let's see. Looking, Josh Segra, Josh. I'm butchering his name probably. Will portray Adrian Chase, aka Vigilante. He'll be the new Star City District Attorney who aids Oliver Queen. So we're getting another vigilante character. I'm sorry I butchered that guy's name. I was just like trying so hard because I'm bad with names to begin with, but. They're bringing in Wild Dog and Vigilante, and that's pretty badass. I really do like that, and I'm excited to see how these two kind of play off each other. How this guy who's going to be the new district attorney to replace Laurel Lance, and he's going to be in the public eye as the new district attorney, but he's also going to be in the mask or whatever as Vigilante. So I'm assuming Green Arrow and Vigilante are probably going to be at odds when they're out on the streets as their counterparts, them actual selves. But when they're mayor and district attorney, everything's going to be all fine. But when they're out, in the city trying to save the city, they're going to have some issues. But I'm really intrigued to see how this all goes down. But yeah, there you go. Now, this one I'm really interested to, I'm really interested in this for sure. Okay. Carly Pope will portray Susan Williams, a reporter from Coast City. And in case you don't know what Coast City is, Green Lantern. Now, why is this casting very exciting for me personally? Well, if you look in the comics, Susan Williams from Coast City is married to a man, and that man's older brother, Hal Jordan, aka Green Lantern. What does this mean? Probably nothing. But what this does is get us one little step closer to having Hal Jordan or any Green Lantern on the Arrowverse, whether it's on Arrow or Legends or whatever. I was hoping that Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern, was going to be in Legends of Tomorrow Season 1 finale. Turns out to be Our Man, but that's a different story for a different time. But I think with this casting will give us some more Easter eggs for Hal Jordan. She'll probably mention how, well, my husband's older brother, Hal, he is just, a crazy pilot or something like that. I don't know. But I'm really intrigued by this casting, and it's not because of the fact that we're getting, another character. It's the fact that this character is very significant because this character is, not blood related, but marriage-wise related to Hal Jordan. The man she's married to, his older brother, is Hal Jordan's. Come on. I'm really interested to see how this plays out. I don't know, because if they introduce her husband on the show, then you can kind of see, well, Hal Jordan is going to look kind of like this younger brother. So we'll get even one step closer if they bring in her husband on the show for like the back half of season 5 of Arrow. Like her husband gets introduced and he comes into play. It's like, oh, his older brother is the Green Lantern. Oh my God. I don't know if they'll do that, but the fact that they're adding in this character is really intriguing. So I'm wondering, is Jeff Johns' new position in Warner Brothers DC him higher up in the the higher up on the food chain, if you will, of WBDC? It means he has more control of what character is allowed to be on TV shows, because they cast a Superman, they're bringing in a character really close to Green Lantern in terms of marriage wise. Come on, I don't know what's going on, but man, if they could have Hal Jordan in season 6 of Arrow or something, oh my God, that'd be so amazing. Anyways, so yeah, bunch of casting for Arrow, and we'll probably hear some more in the future. Next, we're going to go to The Flash, the one major one. Everyone was talking about, I believe it was announced yesterday, yes. Draco Malfoy is going to be on season 3 of The Flash. What the hell? So many Harry Potter references on The Flash season 2. I think there were season 1 references to Harry Potter on The Flash. But man, a lot of season 2 references on The Flash that were related to Harry Potter references. And now they have the villain, Draco Malfoy. Tom Felton will be playing Julian Dorn, a crime scene investigator at the Central City Police Department who suspects Barry Allen. Now, I'm intrigued by this because it sounds like that Tom Felton is going to be playing a hero in this instance because we all just remember him as being Draco Malfoy, that piece of garbage, as Christian Harloff would say, on in the Harry Potter films. But he did a great job because we genuinely hated Draco Malfoy, not because he was a bad actor, but because he was really damn good at making us hate him. So he's going to be investigating Barry Allen because he'll probably have some instances where he'll go, Barry Allen's he's never around when the Flash is around. And he'll probably, start investigating. And I'm guaranteeing you that Julian Dorn, Tom Felton, Draco Malfoy, will probably discover Barry's true identity as being the Flash, and it will be an interesting way to kind of bring in another character because we had Patty Spivot, but they wrote that character's gone. Like, I don't think they're ever bringing back Patty ever again, so they're going to come up with another way to bring in another character like that because I'm assuming that this Flashpoint thing is going to go on for a bit. Now, whether or not he's going to be just in the Flashpoint episodes or the entire... They say he's a series regular. So we might see a different version of him in Flashpoint than a different version when he fixed the timeline, or maybe he never fixed the timeline. Maybe Barry just... maybe he's just forever with his mom and dad and the timeline's fixed. I doubt it, but I don't know. It's very intriguing, but I like the fact they cast him, but everyone was freaking out. Oh my god, Draco Malfoy's in the Flash! It's very cool. I'm definitely intrigued about how this is all going to play out, but good surprise. I wasn't expecting it. Last two we're going to talk about. Nick Zano as Nathan Haywood, a.k.a. Oh, I got lost there. I'm trying to look for the character's name. Where is his character's name? Citizen Steel. There you go. That was a lot of dead air. Sorry about that, everybody. I was looking for the name of the character, and I thought I had it, then I lost it. Citizen Steel. It's on the page. I'm very intrigued by this because it's another JSA character, and I'm wondering how this is all going to play out. If he's going to be an official member of the team, because the other casting, which we'll get to in a second, will probably be on the team. So maybe Citizen Steel will be an official team on the team of Legends of Tomorrow on the Wave Rider, but we'll have to see. But his costume looks pretty badass, so I'm hoping that they'll be able to kind of get close to that the look of the character when they do the TV version, obviously in a couple of months. But hopefully we'll see in a trailer what he'll look like. But I'm definitely intrigued by them announcing Citizen Steel, Commander Steel, whatever you want to call him. Well, they say his grandfather was Commander Steel, so maybe he won't be called Commander Steel. But, he's a member of the Justice Society of America. At least that's what we hope he is. So, very intrigued on how this all plays out. I mean, I'm hoping that we get introduced to a ton of other JSA characters like Dr. Fate, Superman, Alan Scott. I'm hoping that we already have Superman on Supergirl, but it'd be cool to see an older Superman in the JSA. That'd be really cool if they casted somebody else. And apparently we'll probably be seeing Jay Garrick, played by John Wesley Shipp, who played Henry Allen on The Flash. We'll probably be seeing Jay Garrick on the JSA and Legends of Tomorrow Season 2, so fingers crossed. Last casting before we get done with this freaking podcast, man. It's been going on forever. It felt like I'm older now. Jesus, this thing's going on forever. The last one, I'll probably mispronounce this name, but probably not. Macy Richardson Sellers will be playing Amia Jiwe. Anyways, I butchered that to hell. She is playing Vixen. Now, people were confused thinking that they were recasting Vixen. If you read the story, the Macy Richardson Sellers is playing the grandmother of the current Vixen, who was seen in Arrow Season 4 and her own CW Seed animated show, who is voiced by the same actress. So, the actress who played on Season 4 Arrow Vixen, and that actress also does the CW Seed voice for Vixen on the animated show on CW Seed. And since she was supposed to be appearing in Legends of Tomorrow Season 2, but she was unable to because of her scheduling and all that kind of stuff, so they decided to go back in time and get her grandmother, who uses the same totem, so we get two versions of Vixen. So you'll see Vixen on her own animated show, and she might pop up in Season 5 of Arrow or Season 3 of Flash, or something like that. But we'll have that version of Vixen, and we'll have the grandmother of Vixen, who's also playing the same character essentially. So it's pretty cool. They found a way in order for it to work. So it'd be really cool for like 1 week we get to see the original Vixen, the grandmother on Legends, and then the very next week on Arrow we have the granddaughter Vixen, appearing on Arrow Season 5 or something. So it'd be really cool to see if that would ever happen, but I doubt it. But it's pretty cool to bring in Vixen. Everyone was like, we need to have Vixen on Legends of Tomorrow Season 2. We're getting her, just played by a different actress, but I'm really hoping that works out for the best. But a lot of stuff, guys. So much casting. I'm hoping we get a ton of more casting in the next couple of weeks and months because, as they continue to film these shows and all this kind of stuff, they will announce casting for characters and all that. So I'm definitely intrigued to find out what's going to happen in the upcoming weeks, upcoming months, because they start shooting next week for, I believe, Arrow, Legends, and Flash all start shooting next week. So I'm hoping that we get to hear more casting information as they continue to shoot for these shows. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition, whether you've seen it or not. Let me know in the comment section your thoughts about all these casting announcements for all these characters. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Peace out, everybody.